It should be interesting.
I hope so.
All right, fight fans. Fan of Punch podcast coming to you via Zoom.
Year. What up?
Johnny Southpaw's on family vacation time.
Yeah. Out of the OT, you know what I mean? I told you, I listen. You got to get on. You got to get outside, bro. Fuck a pandemic.
that.
You got to get outside. You know what I mean?
Where you at with it?
I'm all the way across the country, bro. I'm in Colorado.
All right,
I'm out here in the mountains. I'm in the mountains, bro. I'm in the mountains.
It's a real white vacation.
I knew you was gonna say some shit like that. I knew you was.
Nah, that's dope. I want to do some shit like that. Snowboarding, snowmobiling, or something like that.
Yeah, bro. It's a whole different vibe. You know what I mean? You realize how small we are when you see some shit like a mountain. You know what I mean? A mile high type shit. So
Mountain lions. Shit like
nah, that's real too.
Yeah.
I'm definitely on the lookout, making sure I'm paying attention. We keeping a close watch.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But what's good with you, bro? Everything good this week, man? You been good?
Yeah, everything is everything, man.
That's what's up, bro.
Let's get into some boxing, man. Let's talk.
Yes, sir. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Fan of Punch podcast. I am Johnny Southpaw with my mans.
Apollo Ali.
Yes, sir. We are coming to you
week.
live for episode 37?
38.
38. Episode 38. Yeah, 38 special.
38 special Zoom joint.
The 38 special Zoom. I like that. That's already the name of this episode. 38 special. But yeah, bro. So I mean, we might as well just jump into it. We already checked in, you know what I mean? Fights did happen this weekend. I don't know if you peeped it.
Early
Yes.
fights.
Yeah. As per the usual, we keep talking about this. I still don't know how I feel about it because like 4 o'clock, the main event started, and then I think the actual main fight, Frampton Herring, came on by like 5:30, 6 maybe, somewhere around there in the afternoon. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I still don't know how I feel about it, but it is what it is. It's the state of the sport right now. Like,
Yes, I miss most of it. I'm gonna keep it real. I miss most of it, man. Just running around.
yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. Like on the East Coast, we're not used to this shit. Like we're like used to like we've talked about it before. Like a fight,
Prime time.
Yep, prime time. That's the end of the night. I know when I'm tuning in, I'm done my shit for the day. But either way, I wanted to make sure that I caught this fight because like I said on the I don't know, a couple episodes ago, I think I loved this fight. I thought it was a good fight. Carl Frampton, a great champion. He's been through ups and downs and rocky roads.
Yeah.
And Jamel Herring, I mean, that's who I had my money on personally.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be a fool not to.
Yeah,
You'd be a
yeah.
fool not to.
I mean, too big, too strong, and Jamel Jamel did what he was supposed to do.
With the work.
I'll recap the fight for you. So basically, Jamel works with Bomac. So
Yeah.
the whole the Bomac team with Terrence and Crawford or
boy,
Terrence
man,
Crawford.
yep.
So unlike Maurice Hooker, he stood up to the test. You know what I mean? No shots at Maurice Hooker. Love Maurice Hooker. But
It's true though. He keep letting me down, but that's another story.
Yeah, that's a different story. But Jamel Herring ended up stopping Carl Frampton in the 6th round with a nasty uppercut. I mean, he just dominated the whole fight.
Sweet.
Pretty
That joint
much.
was sweet too.
Yeah, it was
The one
nice.
You don't see. The one you don't see.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. He caught him with a nice, I think it was like left uppercut, like on the inside too. And Frampton's knees buckled out from under him. But that was just like the icing on the cake. That wasn't even, you know what I mean? He was
Dominated the
outclassed.
fight.
Yeah. So absolutely stellar performance from Jamel Herring. Thank you for winning me some money. I appreciate that. Shout out to Jamel Herring. But with that being said, everybody always talks about, you know what I mean? Fighters never get a chance to breathe. So right after the fact, you already know, like, what's next? What are we doing next?
Right.
So the boogeyman at 130, you already know who that is. The man from Newark, the young bull from Newark. He already been tweeting it out. So Shakur Stevenson already tweeted out, you know what I mean, saying,
man.
he said, before the fight, I think he tweeted out that, he said, with my heart, I want Jamel Herring to win, but for business purposes, I want Carl Frampton to win because I guess there's more money to be made with Carl Frampton. I don't know.
I mean, you might know something I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But either way, so he's got Jamel Herring in his crosshairs at some point in time. He knows it's coming. And he mentioned Oscar Valdez in his tweet too. So that would be a good showdown. Because listen, man, Jamel Herring for as good of a showing as he put on, Shakur is a different monster.
I wasn't sure you was about to go with that. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree. Shakur is Shakur, man. He's special.
Right.
I think that's universally understood at this point. So,
right. I agree. But with that being said, I mean, Jamel Herring poses his own challenges for him. You know, he's a big fighter. He's a big guy. He's tall. He's got a good jab.
Yeah.
And he's strong. You know, he's a bigger dude. Like, you saw the big size difference between him and Carl Frampton.
Yeah,
Carl Frampton
absolutely.
looked tiny in there with him. So, but every time I see Shakur, he does put on some muscle. He gets bigger.
He getting into his man strength. He on his way.
So
that I don't see that being an issue for him.
We could potentially have that showdown this year. I mean, it's still early. Like it's April, so
and the way shit opening up, I mean, why not?
Yeah, I think that's.
I would like to see that.
I think that's a good fight. I'm looking forward to that fight. If they should so be able to make it, I don't see why not. Top rank. You know what I mean? It's not. They're both on the same side of the street, as they say.
Yeah. Easy money.
Yeah,
easy money.
I think that should be a good fight. And then Carl Frampton has been hinting at it before. He was saying that, you know, if he ended up losing this fight, he was probably going to retire. Look, man, Carl Frampton has had a storied career.
Yeah.
He's been in wars and he's a great fighter. So if he decides to hang them up, listen,
it's just you never really know. You know what I mean? I mean, it's up to the individual, but like we talked about that, I think last pod. I think that was last pod when we was talking about Andre Ward and the time he chose to hang up. You know what I mean? It's just like it's different for every individual, man. You can't really some stay in there too long. You know, it's like, but when you don't really know when that next fight is the fight that, you know what I mean, you shouldn't have took.
Well, I think
until after the fact.
That's right. Until it's too late. That's right. I mean, I think he probably learned his lesson. Like, Jamel is up there too. Jamel's not Jamel's not Shakur. So like Jamel is the older statesman of 130, and then everybody else is just younger or stronger. You know what I mean? Younger.
Right.
So
Everybody else is on an ascension.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
So I think it's a good time for him either way. But yeah, man, I mean, much respect to those guys. It was, again, a great card. A little odd, again. It's in Dubai, so they got those weird, I don't know, it's still a weird vibe. It's a weird atmosphere. The cameras are weird to me. I don't know if anybody else picks up on
the Dubai fights.
Yeah, it's weird the way that they shoot them. It's
different. Yeah, because I noticed that on one of them Anthony Joshua fights that they had up there. It was just a different experience in watching it.
It's a different feel to the fight too. And again, we talked about it before. There's not really they're much more a reserved crowd out there.
Yeah. Not a whole lot of emotion.
Yeah, I think they had.
It's not. I don't know. Expression is not really it's frowned upon out. You know what I mean?
Time out. I think they had clappers.
Okay.
I think they had like clappers on the seats that people were like clapping with. It wasn't like applause. It was like clappers. Cause there's no.
It's too primitive.
Yeah, it was
primitive for them.
It's too primitive to clap.
They don't do that.
Nah, bro. But I think again, it was a good fight. And speaking of, you already mentioned people who are coming back. I feel like we got like a half dozen people that got announced this past week that are coming back or on the comeback.
Oh yeah.
People that have hung them up and have decided to pick them back up.
Yeah, the return.
There's multiple people.
I'm a little bit excited. I don't know which one you going to first, but
which one
I'm
you
excited about. Cotto. That Cotto come back. I'm just curious. And Marquez.
Yeah,
I'm curious. And that's actually a fight I wouldn't mind seeing anyway.
Listen, I would have loved to have had that fight when they were both in their prime.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like that, what
but
happens?
They're not. I mean, they're out of their primes for sure. But I mean, it's not Tyson and Roy Jones out of their prime. You know what I'm saying? It's still
they're not
glimpses of their former selves. I'm sure they could find. You know what I mean? They could find.
They're not.
sure they can
They're
find.
not like geriatric. You know, they're not.
Yeah.
They don't have their AARP cards. But
Yeah, right.
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, Miguel Cotto versus Juan Manuel Marquez is announced for June 12th. So I think it's going to be on pay per view. I don't know. I have a feeling that'll probably be what it is. It's an exhibition fight.
Yeah,
So
it's exhibition. That should be dope though. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
I've loved Miguel Cotto. Just watching his style, I love the way he fights. And then Marquez, I mean, he's always been a great counterpuncher, a fantastic, Mexican fighter, outside the box Mexican fighter. It'd be good to see them, but I don't know what exhibition means. I don't know if there's headgear. I don't know if if it's 2-minute rounds.
I don't think they'll do that.
No
I don't
headgear?
think nah. You can't come on pay per view with headgear.
Listen, we've paid for worse. All right, we have paid for worse.
That's true. That's actually a fact. Unfortunately, that's a fact.
But yeah,
That should be dope though. Cotto was one of my favorites in that era, man. He even put up a good fight against Floyd.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
honestly, the best. I want to say one of the better ones that I've seen put up against Floyd. You know what I mean? One of the better fights that I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, Sugar Shane had some brilliant moments, but of course we know what happened. Floyd quickly made adjustments, and we never saw that Sugar Shane again. You know what I'm saying?
He disappeared for the rest of the fight.
Right. So,
Yeah, no, I think
I would agree.
I think that's going to be an interesting fight. I'm looking forward to that. And speaking of Sugar Ray, did you see not to shout out other podcasts, but it's Mike, so fuck it. But
Mike.
Mike's
I caught it.
hot boxing. So I caught the clips. Again, they always get me with these clips.
Nah, I watched the whole thing.
Oh, did you?
The whole thing.
Oh
I watched
man!
the
All
whole
right, so
thing.
yeah, I'm curious about it. You might have to get into it, but all I want to know is what got Sugar Ray. So for anybody who hasn't watched it, Mike Tyson's podcast or video podcast, whatever you want to call it, Hot Boxing had Tommy the Hitman Hearns,
Yep.
Sugar Ray Leonard,
Sugar Ray Leonard
and then
Sugar Shane Mosley.
Sugar Shane Mosley on it.
Who was Sugar Shane was pretty much a cliff note in the corner pocket because the conversation it never left Hitman and Sugar. It never left them.
So
what I'm
how
saying?
did they? So I saw them get into it. I saw even Sugar Ray like jumping at him, like yo,
Yeah, I mean,
hey,
it was-
Hitman
it
Hearns,
was-
like what? How did
it
that
was-
get there?
Because Mike's an instigator.
Yeah, that's
Mike's
what it
an
looked like.
instigator, and of course, he's a huge fan, and all of that was revealed in just their conversation. It wasn't really much of an interview because he was just you could tell Mike was just so happy to have them there and just
Right.
to shoot the shit. You know what I mean? They were just talking shit basically. So of course, Marvin Hagler came up. They spoke about him and just the great fighter that he was and his untimely demise and all of that. And the fights that they had, which of course led to Sugar Ray and Hitman discussing their fights, and Hitman feeling like certain things went one way, and Sugar Ray was America's heartthrob. You know what I'm saying? He was
Right.
America's favorite, so that came up, and just how Hitman felt like he had to fight everybody. And Mike said it, and he was Mike. That was the funny part of it to me, because Mike was like, "You had to fight everybody: the concession stands, the referee, the judges." And Hitman was like, "I wish I had you on my side back then," because I guess he been feeling like that his whole life, because that was a big battle. That was a big mountain to climb.
Yeah.
Always being the one opposing the chosen one is always difficult, especially when the public view you a certain way. So that conversation led to them just going back and forth about different details of their exchanges and the fights that they had. It was interesting though, man, because you could just see it don't matter how old you are, bro. If you're a fighter, once a fighter, always a fighter.
Right.
And it's just in there.
Yeah.
It's just in there. You can't help but talk your shit.
Yeah, I mean that's what I kind of like. That's what I took away from the little bit that I saw from the clips that I saw is like, yeah, man, Sugar Ray still talks greasy the same way that he talked greasy when he was active.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And Tommy too. Tommy was like unfazed. He was like, man, I ain't worried about you. Like,
Tommy, who's obviously, as the years go on, you can see the effects, of the sport on him, and he a little punchy or whatever. But it's just funny watching him because it's like you don't see none of that. As the individual, like Tommy, he don't see none of that. He's still Hitman. You know what I mean? In his mind, he Hitman. Like, I thought it was interesting though, yo.
Yeah, I mean, I listen. Anytime you can get Hall of Famers into a room to talk shit to each other, and I mean, just talk shop.
Especially rivals
Yeah,
of a sort like that. You know, what I mean, that's conversation that's priceless right there. So it was dope. It was a dope moment. Like I said, it wasn't really much of an interview. It was just more like, Mike fanboying out, which is cool because you know what I'm saying. That's Sugar Ray Leonard. That's Hitman Hearns. So it's like if you're gonna do it, that's the time to do it.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, Sugar Shane was pretty much there, just enjoying, happy to be there as he should be. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And
I mean,
it was dope.
Not to take anything away from Sugar Ray.
Not at all. But I mean,
no, yeah, those are the like absolute legends, like absolute
Mount Rushmore.
Yep.
Levels. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, Mount Rushmore. That's a
little
perfect way to put it.
A little different.
But yeah, bro, I gotta go.
Only question I can remember Mike even asking Sugar Shane was what was Floyd like? About that fight, and he didn't even give him enough time to really get into detail of that, but that was like the only question he really asked him.
Interesting. What was his response? What did he say?
What did he say? If I remember correctly, he said something about just how quick he is and how smart and sharp he is. You know, the usual.
The same old, right? Yeah, same thing that everybody hears. I get it. What else we got? So multiple fights announced this week. So we have. I'm gonna just run through them. I mean, no importance of order or whatever. Brian Jennings coming back, making his reappearance today.
BY.
Yep, BY.
I was in Uber with BY one time before.
For real? What the hell?
It was random as hell. I was in Philly, coming from somewhere, and a nigga, it was an Uber pool. He jumped in the joint. I said, "Oh shit, it's BY."
Well, that's a lot like my story. He was getting lunch at like a spot next to the gym that I was working at out at TKO in Cherry Hill, and he stopped in because he seen a boxing ring, and I was like, "Why the fuck is Brian Jennings in here?"
He randomly came into TKO?
He just came in. And I was like, what the fuck? Why is this kid is a heavyweight contender right now? Like, what you doing over here? He was working his normal job at that point. He was still working I think he was working at a bank or some shit. I don't know. Yeah. But so Brian Jennings making his return June 18th. So looking forward to seeing BY get back in the ring. I don't know where he stands, where he goes in the hierarchy, but for me, it's just nice to see BY just back in the ring. You know what I mean?
Right, for sure.
Good fighter. June 8th. This one is not solid yet, so I don't know if we should really chop it up, but the potential of this fight is big news to boxing. June 8th.
What are you talking?
Terrence Bud Crawford.
Man, I don't know if it's official.
Taking on Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. So I don't know if it's official by the time
speaking of that, did you see it was rumored that Canelo offers $65 million
for Pacquiao.
To fight Pacquiao.
I heard that.
I don't know if we covered that.
We did not. No, I think that just came out too. That just came out like maybe this week or maybe the week before. But yeah, so I heard
his name is floating around. So listen, I mean, he the bag man right now.
Manny's the bag man, and so is Canelo.
Right.
Both of them are the bag man, and that's honestly that's the biggest fight to be made. But if I'm Pacquiao, I'm staying away from that fight.
From Canelo.
Hell yeah. Canelo can hurt. Like Canelo can hurt Manny, I think, honestly.
At this point. Yep.
Right. At this point in his career. But with that being said, Bud Crawford is the main name that they're throwing around with Pacquiao. So thoughts?
I mean, all right. So my initial thoughts is that's dope. And I think it'll be a good fight and I'd love to see it. But at the same time, I don't like the feeling or like the aura around the way that the fight is being speculated to be announced. It's almost as if we're throwing Terrence Bud Crawford a bone. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like here's a huge fight for you. Like you don't deserve it. Like you deserve that, and then you know what I mean. I don't like the look of it.
I agree with you. I think that is very true. But with that being said, if I'm Bud, I'm jumping all over the first big name that I can say that I can get.
Because he has to, and I get that, and that's to no fault of his own either. Because it's like they not giving him nothing.
Right. I mean, again, that's no reflection of his talents, no reflection of his skills.
That's my
none
point.
Of that.
That's my point. Cause he the one. Right.
Right. I agree. I think, and so let's say let's say this fight happens, and let's say he beats Pacquiao, which I think honestly it's a slight coin toss. It's almost a coin toss for me
Really?
between the two of them. Almost. I wouldn't say a coin. I wouldn't say full 50-50.
What you judging that off of Pacquiao's last fights with what?
Yeah,
who did he fight
Thurman.
last? Thurman.
I'm judging
whooped
it off
Thurman's
of
ass.
obviously not Broner, but I'm judging that off of Thurman
Yeah, he
because
whooped
that's
Thurman's ass.
yeah. I mean, like the age is about the same between Thurman and Crawford, and I mean the fighting style is not,
Complete
but
different.
I mean I guess I'm basing it off of
It will be interesting.
yeah power and age. I think that's what I'm basing that off of. But with that being said, fuck, what was I saying? Manny. So I guess. I mean, if Manny, I don't know. What's your thoughts on this fight? Like, what do you like? If the fight happens, if it goes down,
My money's on Bud regardless. I do feel like this will be his chance to fully display his array of skills and the tools that he's got in his box. Because Manny will, if Manny comes out like the Manny he's been coming out, it's going to push him.
yeah,
He's going to have to. He's not going to give it to him. You know what I mean? He's going to have to earn it, which he
Yeah.
does every fight. But I'm saying this is just a different level. It's still Manny Pacquiao, ladies
Right.
and gentlemen. Like let's
Yeah.
not get it fucked up. It's still Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and that applies to everybody except Floyd Mayweather.
that's. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you there.
Make
I
sure
can't-
you don't.
I can't
Make
argue.
sure you don't.
I can't argue with you
Skip past
because he
that.
lost.
Keep
It
it
is what it
moving.
is. I mean, it's just already moving past Floyd.
That
Like,
applies to everybody except Floyd. That's Manny Pacquiao.
listen,
So
man, if I
respect that.
fought Floyd with one arm and lasted 12 rounds, I'd be okay with myself.
Here
That's
you
all.
go.
I'm just saying that I'd be okay with myself. That's all. I'll leave it there. I listen. If I'm Manny and I fought him with one arm and it went 12 rounds, who cares? I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Then
be
you
the bag
woke up-
man.
Then you woke up and the reality was that's Floyd Mayweather.
Whatever. I can't see. I keep saying I really sure. I try not to argue about Floyd in boxing anymore because
What's to argue about?
I just keep losing because Floyd keeps winning. Like
right.
my last
All
one, the last time I bet against him was not Andre Berto, but
Whoever you bet against, every time you
whatever.
bet against him, you lost.
Canelo, I think, was the last time I
Yeah.
really bet against him. Either way.
Sorry for you.
I still think this is a coin. That's the point I was trying to make. I still think this is almost a coin toss, just based off of Manny's last performances, the layoffs in the ring too with Bud. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's one factor I think that comes into it. But Bud is still Bud. He's a dog.
I can
He's
understand
strong.
using that. Yeah, I can understand you using that point as a point of contention. But
It's still Bud.
man, it's Bud.
Again,
and he waiting on moments like this because he wants the ones. You know
Oh,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
so you know he gonna come to this fight prepared. You know he gonna show out and perform to the best of his ability.
Either
I
way-
wouldn't expect nothing less.
either way, it's going to be a dog fight if it happens. Who
Oh, yeah.
knows if it happens? It's a rumor right now. That's a strong rumor.
Now we
apparently.
done went all the way down this rabbit hole and I forgot that it's not official yet.
Yeah, this whole shit is not. Yeah,
yeah.
they haven't announced it yet. I mean, maybe by the time this comes out, they announce it. Who the fuck knows? I don't
Yeah,
know.
we'll see.
Boxing's weird like that. That they constantly do this shit. But something that is official that just got announced: Devin Haney versus Jorge Linares for the WBC lightweight championship on May 29th. I love the fight.
Yeah. Linares got a knockout his last fight, right?
Yeah, and I think I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's a good fight. I think it's a
I
good
agree.
fight. Devin Haney just still needs to be more active to me. He needs to show me some more. Like I need to see him. I believe in Devin Haney. We've been preaching, you know what I mean? The
Yeah.
same thing between you and I. We've been preaching
Yeah.
like his praises. But it's going to be a good fight. That's his toughest fight of his entire career that he's had so far.
Thus far, yeah, I agree.
And I think that
Linares, he definitely looked good in his last fight, and he gonna have to deal with him. He gonna have to deal with that work rate.
Yep. I think it's a good fight. I'm looking forward to it. That's coming in May. And that's another thing about these fights, too. They all get announced and they're all like back. They're all like back
Yeah,
to
because
back.
Ryan Garcia's fighting too.
Yep.
And,
Right. That's
I mean-
another one.
I mean, of course, they've been talking shit to each other about fighting each other, but now they got two tests they gotta both
Yeah.
handle before they can even get to that conversation again.
Right. Ryan Garcia is taking on Javier Fortuna in July on DAZN.
Who
So
also just won his last fight convincingly.
Javier Fortuna's a good fighter, man.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
good fighter. He's a former world champion, so
Yeah.
it's a good fight for him. I think
Yeah.
again, toughest. I think Linares is a bit tougher of an opponent than Javier Fortuna, just because I've seen Fortuna get knocked out a few times,
Yeah.
namely by
but
Jason Sosa. Shout out to Sosita.
So, well, if I'm to put my personal opinion on it, I would make it an even situation because I see Devin Haney as slightly a better fighter than Ryan Garcia. So it pretty much balances out. You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree.
It's both going to be tough challenges for both of them, but I see it as an even challenge for both of them at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, I agree
But-
with you.
I don't know. I don't know that both of them winning these fights won't tell me anything about what will happen when they meet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, my money's still those two fighting each other or fighting other separate champions are going to just bring them up. I want to say probably about the same level in their own respective careers, but that still doesn't outweigh like if one is already better than the other. You know what I mean?
Right,
if
right.
if they're right here and they're just going up, then they're just keeping this shit the same
Yeah,
level. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So I still like Devin Haney. I believe in Devin Haney, but again, the entire world feels like they believe in fucking Ryan Garcia. So
Yes, and somewhere
Who
on
knows?
this planet, I don't bump into those people.
it's all on
a
this
daily
coast,
basis, but
actually.
yeah,
I'm in
yeah,
Ryan Garcia's backyard, so
Yeah. So watch what you say, man.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't want nobody to hear me. Yeah, bro. Well, speaking of Mexicans, I'm actually, that works, right? Speaking of Mexicans,
Sure.
who else is coming?
No disrespect to my Mexican connects.
No disrespect. What he said. I'm going with what he said. So Jaime Munguia just got announced.
Munguia.
Yeah, Jaime Munguia just is fighting Mas. Oh fuck! Well, I'm a
Come on, you
butcher.
good with the you good with
Yeah,
the
no,
names, man.
not this good. I know how to say his last name. Sulecki. That's
Okay.
Masa something. It's like Macij. I don't know. But I've seen Sulecki before. I remember that name. I remember seeing him fight
Yeah.
before. He's a good fighter. Again, we've talked about this kid, Jaime Munguia, for a long time.
Yeah.
Another big Mexican Canelo-esque type fighter.
Yeah.
So his fight just got announced on DAZN the day after my birthday, April 24th. So
Dope.
yeah, bro, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
That
I'll
is
definitely check that out too.
yeah, that's gonna be on DAZN. So I mean, we got a bunch of fucking cars coming up, bro. We got a bunch of shit that just got announced. Boots is fighting this weekend. Jerron
Yeah.
Ennis. He fights this weekend on Showtime, so that should be exciting.
Always look forward to seeing Boots. Always love seeing him out.
Yo, I got to figure out what time I watch that out here. Damn.
Well, that's your problem.
I see. Look, I got West
mine.
Coast problems now. Sort of
Yeah,
West Coast.
yeah.
But yeah, bro. I don't know, man. That's pretty much. I wanted to cover all the fights that are coming up. I know this is a Zoom cast,
Yeah,
so
I mean, shoot, I'm looking forward to seeing all of them joints, man.
Wait.
Definitely can't wait to check out Boots too.
time out. The biggest fight of the century is happening next weekend. Not this weekend coming up. Next weekend, the 17th. How do you have it? The two titans collide. Jake Paul takes on Ben Askren on Triller. Live to you, sir.
Now let me ask you a question. How you gonna feel if Jake Paul beat his ass?
I'm going to feel the same about Jake Paul.
Yeah. I mean, I asked you like that because he fighting a fighter.
He's fighting a fighter. That's very true. He's fighting a wrestler, to be honest. Let's be real about this.
I mean, a boxer, no, but he is.
Yo, you know who fucking believes in him, yo? That I'm it's so weird. It's odd. And it might be a business thing, but Mike has Jake Paul's back all the time. Every interview that I've seen, like
Yeah.
Mike has Jake Paul posted on his fucking page.
I think they even spoke about that on the last pod with the legends on the seat on the couch.
I'm curious on their
Jake
take.
Paul's name came up, which
That's-
is, I mean, kudos to him, man. I mean,
That's nuts.
How are you getting your name in these conversations with,
That
with the
is
hitman, Sugar Ray, Sugar Shane? Like, how are you coming up in topic?
That shit
hey,
doesn't.
man,
That
kudos
doesn't
to
make
him.
any sense to me.
Kudos to him. He's doing something right. But yeah, I mean, that's not a fight I'm particularly looking forward to. But you know, I'm gonna check it out.
Listen, man. If he beats
it out.
an actual fighter, like, is he? Are we having these conversations? Like, is this going to be a thing where he's actually talking about like fighting actual boxers? Because
I mean,
it's sick if it is. It's
it can easily cross over to that because it's going to be a money play. You know how many fighters quality fighters that can't get the views and the looks and the bag that he can get.
Right.
So you know what I mean? Fighting him would be. It's like doing a feature with a with a popping artist, bro. Like you might not even like the way they make music, but I need you on the hook.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I could see it happening. I could see a world where that exists, where you got a fighter, you got Bud taking the bag. You know what I'm saying? You got Bud taking the bag to fight Jake Paul.
That just makes my
Sounds
stomach
ridiculous.
It makes my
but
stomach
I can see
turn.
that being a thing.
It bothers me because
Let me
It bothers me for a lot of reasons.
Let me complete that thought by saying you got guys like Adrian Broners and I mean he's the inverted version of that at this point. Like he is
what do you mean inverted version? What do you mean?
like somebody turned fighter to get and is hustling the game. He like a fighter turned hustle the game. You know what I mean? Like he was a fighter, a good one at that. But now it's just more of a shell of himself, mockery of his old self, living off of that name to continue and fight and like play with the people and get money. So I could see them two worlds colliding and being a thing.
That's a good point, man.
That's all I'm saying.
It's just it's just crazy to me how this is like a topic of conversation. Meanwhile, you have like actual fighters from like the MMA, or from the UFC that are like fighting for paydays or to get released
Yeah.
because they can't get paid enough.
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing that like the women are going to MMA to get paid more than boxing, but the MMA fighters are coming to boxing to get paid more than. It's just odd. I don't know. That's
the money is where it is, man.
it's so weird. It's so
It is where
weird,
it
bro.
is. It is weird. It's an odd scale. I don't really know.
That fight is coming up though. I mean, it's an event. If I have to buy it, I probably won't tune in.
Because that's the
But
main event, right?
Yeah, that's the big. That's
Jake
the main
Paul
event.
is the main event, man. Now that's what the world's come to.
We're
like,
on a
you know
we're
how
on
they
a
got,
Zoom cast. Jake Paul's the main event. We live in a
it called?
twilight zone, bro.
BCAD time.
What?
You know how they have BCAD time?
No, I don't know what that means.
I mean, not BCAC, whatever.
Oh,
that shit's before.
BCAD. Yes, yeah. I got you.
Ain't that what it's called? How you call it?
Yeah,
Well,
BCAD.
we're back to that because it's now before COVID, after COVID. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole new world. Anything's possible from here on out. So,
Yeah.
Jake Paul versus Earl Spence could be a thing.
Oh
in the
my
future,
God.
bro! It sounds sickening, I know.
We're-
But this is the time zone we in.
We're gonna get Jake Paul versus Earl Spence before we get Terrence
Yep.
Crawford versus Earl Spence.
You might as well just book it. Book it.
That's definitely gonna happen. That's
crazy,
definitely
right?
that's definitely gonna happen before then. I don't know, bro. I have no idea. It's a world. It's a strange world that we live in right now. Strange world that we live in.
Agreed.
But I don't know, bro. What else you got? You got anything else that we need to chop up? Because we talked about everything else. Jamel Herring won. All these fights that got announced. We got our summer plans. I mean,
Yeah.
May, June, July. It's all gonna be busy for boxing. So
Got some shit coming.
I'm excited.
Me too. I mean, I think that's pretty much it though. We covered everything. It was one little tidbit I seen on Instagram that I thought was interesting because we were talking about the Mike Tyson movie that's coming out or they're supposed to be working on with Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, yeah.
And we got into like how they would do it and just getting into the psyche of the person Mike Tyson and how he becomes who he becomes.
Right.
This story kind of shed a little bit of light on that, which I thought was interesting. So I'll read it. It says one of the reasons people were skeptical about Cuss claims that this is from Mike Tyson's head. You know what I mean? One of the reasons people were skeptical about Cuss's claims that I would win a title was that they thought I was too small. So as I was trying, he says, pardon me, man. He says, as I was tying up the garage to take, one more time. Long story short, I'm about to abbreviate this joint. I don't know why it's type funny. But anyway, he was taking out the trash or something, and Cuss says to him, I wish you had a body like Mike Weaver or Ken Norton, because people would just see you and they'd be intimidated. I wish you were big like those guys, because then you really scare people. That's what Cuss said to him. That's my point in getting to that. All of that was Cuss said that to Mike at some point in his youthful training and coming up. So, I mean, we all know as Mike who he is now, but at that time he was a smaller statured heavyweight guy. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right. I mean, he was still a small heavyweight, no matter what. When you look back
regardless
at
of
it.
what, right? But you know, the aura that it grew to, it all stemmed from that conversation. He goes on to say how that affected him. He cried in his room all night, was upset because he didn't have the body. Ken Norton, I mean,
Yeah.
I think everybody wants to look like that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it's a
Like,
big dude, man.
You know what I mean? Whatever we can get into at that point. If you that big, you know what I'm saying? You with whatever, but
Yeah, that's
I thought
wild,
that
man.
was interesting, bro. I thought that was interesting, and that's what like triggered that monster that we grew to know, which is Mike Tyson. He said he had to make the whole world fear him.
It's crazy to hear how Mike always like stories like that, like things that have given him a complex. Like he got beat up when he got bullied a lot. I know that for a fact. He got bullied a lot when he was a kid too. Like that mixed with like Cuss saying that is not. I don't think Cuss meant it like. You know what I mean? Cuss didn't mean it to hurt his feelings, but he was just so.
Just a thing.
Yeah,
you know
he was just.
He was so into the boxing. It was just like, yeah. I think that was interesting, bro.
Right.
But it's what's also so genius and brilliant about people like that, or like a Mike Tyson, is how that one statement, how you can channel that into a fuel for life. Your whole entire life you carry, you know what I mean? You carried that into something that became tangible.
Right.
And it wasn't just for that moment. You know what I'm saying? That was forever.
Yeah.
He's still Mike Tyson that way. You know what I mean? That's crazy, bro. That is insanity.
I think
and genius at the same time.
I think it's something that, I mean, as not to get deep and philosophical on everything here, but I think it's something that we all kind of go through as people, as human beings too. Just because, like, everything, like you can go through one big thing or one little thing. It can be little to you, it can be major to you, or you know what I mean, vice versa, and it just be something that changes the entire trajectory of your whole entire life and everything that you do. That's how I ended up in boxing. Like that's, I mean, that's how I ended up participating in the sport myself. It was just something small, but to me it meant a lot. So you know what I mean? That's just how it worked out. And to see Mike go and be like the king of the world and, you know what I mean, reach the peaks of the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And bro, off of one little comment by a trainer, one little comment by somebody.
He probably thought nothing of it. Cuss said that and thought nothing of it, I would imagine.
Right.
You know?
I imagine that.
I thought that was dope.
What Mike would have been if Cuss was alive longer? That is one of the greatest mysteries in boxing. That is one of the greatest mysteries. Because if you look at like when Cuss passed, Mike had he had already gotten the heavyweight championship, but that like he was reaching like superstardom at that point. Like he was. I mean, boxing. It was a pinnacle of like pop culture, or the crossing of pop culture and Mike Tyson. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mike with, with the celebrities and with Don King, and if would he have ever been with Don King, like that kind of thing. Like I've wondered.
Imagine it. I can't even imagine that realm where that's the reality, because it's just like everything that happened, the way it happened for Mike, is what makes the movie so spectacular. You know. I couldn't see it going a different way.
I'm signing up for IMAX whenever. It's a series. That's right. Either way.
They better get every nook and cranny out of this Mike Tyson story. You know, there is a old movie, Mike Tyson movie, right, from like '95.
Is it like a?
It's called Tyson.
But isn't that like an actual Isn't that a documentary, or is that like with Mike?
I'm talking about the one with Mike's not in it. I'm talking about the one with what's my man name? Is it? I don't want to say it's Michael J. White. I don't know. The dude that was in Black Dynamite.
Oh yeah. Okay.
The dude that was in Why Did I Get Married? Tyler Perry joints.
Yeah.
Him. Karate dude. He kind of
karate. Yeah.
Him. He plays Mike Tyson back then, and that is bad. Bad for business.
That doesn't sound good.
They have to redeem Mike Tyson and give him a proper feature joint. So
I mean, if it's a series and they can get into some good shit, like a lot of the series that we see on TV now,
like even a story like that's important. That got to be in the script. That has to be in the script. That moment has to happen in the series or movie, whatever they do with it. That's got to be in there.
100%.
Because I never heard that story, but like. That's valid information, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I want to hear how Mike got into like studying conquerors and emperors and war, like the generals of war and shit like that. That's what I'm most interested in from his perspective.
He's definitely well versed in all of that shit.
It's insane. He's like he's
encyclopedia of that
exactly.
Type of shit.
He's an encyclopedia, bro. It's nuts. And honestly, I don't see the reason I love that. That's one of the things that makes me love Mike so much, because I don't think anybody's really as studied as he is. I don't think there's another
to that
person.
Level, no.
Absolutely. I don't think there is. I mean, I think there's
not like even Floyd. As much as we love Floyd, he's a master at what he does know, but he's not. There's certain names of past fighters that he won't even ramble off if they're not cool. You know what I'm saying?
It's
or like not to say that they're cool, but you know what I mean.
No,
like
it's
damn near. Like if it's not the name to name. He don't know enough to talk about them.
Fam, he's dissed Muhammad. He's just said I should be better than Muhammad Ali. Like
from a fighter perspective, I understand it.
No, not from a fighter perspective. I
do kind of, and this is
if it's an active fighter, then I get that. But like that's like. I don't know. That's like Hov.
It's blasphemous.
Listen, that's like Hov's line about Biggie. If I'm not better than Big, I'm the closest one. He didn't say that he's better than Big. Fam.
That was then.
Floyd was
at this point in time now.
He would never say it. Even if it is true, he would never say it. Just out of pure respect and not so much like admiration, but like it's just pure respect. It's a respect thing.
I agree 1,000%. Like Floyd be bugging on that type of. I don't know what it is about the Ali thing, but even the things that he does.
I think it's about fighters in general with Floyd. Floyd doesn't like to be outshined. And that's what it comes down to Floyd. Like if he's being outshined, like if somebody says, "Oh, Sugar Ray Robinson," and everybody always talks about it, people. Floyd's response is always the same. I would have beat Sugar Ray. I would have beat this guy. I would have beat that guy. And again, from a fighter
and I respect that.
Right.
Because he only dealing with, I feel like when he has those answers and those conversations, he's dealing strictly off a technique, mechanical kind of view of it. You know what I'm saying?
I think
so. When he talks Ali, that's all he's talking about. Oh well, he leans back. He does this. Like he's looking at all of the flaws that maybe Ali's fight game had, as opposed to who he fought, how he won. You know what I mean? Those things don't weigh as heavy on him as the technique. I feel like that's where he be coming from. Which is understandable, but even still, like you said, there's certain things that you just like leave that in your head, bro.
You just right, exactly. And for me personally, I just think it's bravado. Like it's Floyd saying
it's always a dash of that.
It's Floyd is constantly acting to me. It's constantly an act where like Floyd is constantly ever since he was in the WWF, WWE.
Look at this! I done let him into a hate on Floyd segment.
I'm not hating. I'm just saying that's why I look at Floyd the way I do. Because for me, it's like he's constantly in like his heel role. Like he's constantly like being the bad guy. And it just is, at some point, it's like, look, listen, man, Muhammad Ali's the greatest of all time. They call it like they termed GOAT because of him and Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? Like that came from Ali, and you just pay the respect and you just keep it moving. Sure, maybe in your head, yes, technically I could have probably beat him, or technically I could have beat Sugar Ray Robinson or Sugar Ray Leonard, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It's weird to me. And I see that with Mike, like Mike
would never.
Never.
And that's
Mike would never.
It's respectable and commendable.
But that was a tangent, bro. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the new guys today, I don't know anybody that studies the game like that. I mean, it's the Tyson thing. It's the Kobe thing where you just know everything about this sport in and out. Yep. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know if that exists for the young bucks these days. Just to be honest, like a lot of people are so into their own world they can't even see where you could find greatness in other people and implement certain parts. Like a lot of people just into what they into, bro. The issue I take studying ain't cool no more. You just supposed to already know. You supposed to already got it or pretend like you do. Well, the issue that I see, I guess again, it's just to me. My issue that I see is when you ask a fighter as young as Ray Savage Ford. When you ask a fighter who influenced you, who's the guy that you look up to, it stops at Floyd. Yeah. Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. Fam, you do understand that there were fighters that like
arguably better than Floyd that go back a
Absolutely.
little bit further. Like you go back to the 80s and you look at that four and
Yeah.
who they're fighting. They're
Yeah.
fighting each other on a regular basis. Who else they're fighting? You know what I mean? It just,
Right.
I don't know. That for me, the next generation is in question as far as their studious, acute for the sport. You know what I mean? I think it kind
I
of
agree.
the level stops at Floyd, and I hate to see that. I hate to see that because then
Now
it's
that's
just our
one point-
generation.
that's one point about Floyd. I would agree with you on. If he were the marker for the generations coming, and they only go back as far as that, you're missing out. You're
They
missing
are.
out big time.
Absolutely missing out, and
You're missing out on every considerable golden era of the actual fucking sport. Like you're
Yeah.
missing out on all of that shit.
the middleweight era, the heavyweight era, like you know what I mean, the '80s, the night, like Roy, like you know what I mean. I don't know, man. I just those are my guys that I looked up to. Like those are still the fighters that I hold dearest. Like De La Hoya, like Roy, like Sweet Pea, like all of those guys. And then obviously the greatest like Durans and Leonards and Hagglers and all of that. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff out there that these dudes should
I
be.
get it.
And it's readily available. YouTube is right in front of you.
Right.
Like
Again, just to go back to that, think about the amount of steps and the process somebody like Mike Tyson would have had to go
Right.
through to watch an old Joe Louis fight.
right.
You know what I
And
mean?
that's what Lennox Lewis said. He was like, they were asking him on the Drink Champs interview, was like, how does Mike have these? Like, was it like a disc or something? He's like, no, he had film, like
Actual film.
actual film, 8mm film. Like,
Crazy.
there's no, I don't think that there's a fighter today that is up and coming, and maybe we just don't know, but I don't think that like Shakur even is like studying film of like Sugar Ray Robinson, Jake LaMotta. Like I just don't, even Grandpa. You know what I mean? You ask Ali or you ask Tyson and he talks about Jersey Joe Walcott. You asked Ali, he talked about Jersey Joe Walcott.
Right.
I'm curious to see if I were to drop the name Jersey Joe Walcott and the Walcott Shuffle and all of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. It's not something the youth really know, man.
does that resonate with the youth? I don't know.
It's different. It's different levels, but you know that's in everything. It's different degrees to how deep you want to go with it. You know, so
Yeah.
I'm sure that I'm not gonna I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt that there is probably some fighters out there that are still studying the game and implementing things from every fighter they could find from the past and just using what works. I'm sure there is. You know what I'm saying?
I hope
just I don't know. That person hasn't revealed that that's what they do.
Right, that's fair.
If- you know
Again,
what I mean?
we don't know 100%. I agree with you. I hope so.
Unless I miss something, and that's also possible too.
Listen, I hope that it still exists. I haven't seen it, but maybe these kids.
Nobody
there's some kids
nobody
out
does
there.
it to the capacity of Mike, which was the point of this whole conversation. Mike is a fucking lunatic when it comes to just prior fighters, warriors,
Yeah,
all type of shit.
yeah,
So
and it's not just
that's a
boxers.
different
He's-
mentality, man.
Yeah, he's talking about like Genghis Khan and Alexander, and it's crazy. But yeah, bro, that's it for me. I ain't got nothing else. Episode 38.
Yeah, that's it, bro.
That's it. We might as well not even. We're gonna skip the walkouts because I'm out. I'm out and about. You know what I mean? Next week,
enjoy
though,
Colorado, man.
I appreciate it, bro. Next week we back in Bridgeport.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, back in the building, bro, and we'll be looking forward to the Jake Paul fight, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if we can get Dev on here, man. To see if we can talk.
Yeah.
little fight talk. You know?
We need to have a discussion
MMA shit.
about these MMA kids.
Word.
But yeah,
All
bro.
right, man. So that's what it is, man. Fight fans, make sure y'all subscribe, like and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Spotify, Instagram, all of that good stuff, man. As always, salute to every fighter that enters the ring. We're gonna be here to continue to cover the sport for y'all, man. And we catch y'all next week.